When you were making that decision, weren't you aware that a similar setup have been tried twice before, and on both occasions, those have failed miserably? And what drive the decision for you to make Darren Sammy all format coach and also head selector?
Well, explain to me what you mean by which part of it has been tried before and has been a failure.
England tried it in 2022 with Chris Silverwood, and in the 1990s,
You mean
They tried it with Ray Illingworth. And in fact, Ray Illingworth was somebody who's considered to be, it, many English persons consider him to be the greatest captain of all time. But they tried the issue of being, they tried the policy of head coach and chief selector in one, and giving one person that authority to select the team. And on both occasions, it failed. In 2022 with Chris Silverwood, and in the 1990s with Ray Illingworth.
okay?
Mhm.
Um, but what was their process like?
And that's
Because
the
I
that's the
think
question I asked you. What drive you to make that decision? So you are now going to tell us the process, because the precedent has been that there have been two failures in the past tried by another country. So what to now inform your decision, and what's the process that you follow to reach at that
okay,
decision?
all right. So let's take
I
it back.
hope you understand.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
understand. So you're basically asking me to take it back from the top
Mm,
and explain how we got to this point,
yeah.
right? So
No, what I
effectively,
basically want, yeah, I want you to do that, but I want you to also tell us why there's a precedence of two failures, but you still think that it will work this time.
no, I mean, as I said, you have to understand. You would say a precedence of two failures, but you are assuming that we have implemented the exact um, blueprint of those failures,
Mm,
right? Now, what we have is a system where the head coach is going to have the final say, right? He can have the final say. It does not mean that the head coach is the only person who is involved in the selection process, right? And that is something that we have to separate. The in a selection panel where you have a lead selector, right? The lead selector has a casting vote, right? So you might argue that there are other persons, and so the lead selector could be outvoted. But then I would ask, is having your lead selector being outvoted a desirable outcome necessarily, right? And I mean, I don't need you to answer it, but those are the considerations that have been taken place. So we are trying to build teams, right? We're trying to build teams that are going to play a specific brand of cricket, right? So it requires that every person in that team has a role that they have to execute, right? And each role is they're dependent on the other. So there has to be a synergy right throughout the squad that is selected. Now the challenge with having a a completely democratic process, right? And probably democratic is not the right word. The problem with having different viewpoints coming in, it could mean that there are different viewpoints winning out on the selection of each player in that team, right? So I give an example. You have a three-man panel. One person believes that the player who scored the most runs should be selected, right? Another person believes that the player who passed the eye test um, should be selected. And then another person believes that the player who has been most consistent over a number of seasons should be selected, right? At which point do you look at the team and what role or what person is the best fit for the role in the team, right? And when the head coach leads the discussion on selection, the only focus is on which player is the best person to fit the role in the team. The head coach is the one who designs the strategy, right? He speaks to the brand of cricket that the team would play, and he is the best person to determine whether a player is the best fit for a role in the team.